All right, let's go to Kevin Santiago's work next. So this is Panther's Animal Optometry. I think this is much better from where it was last week. Just working with the name change and appropriating this more towards animal optometry as opposed to human optometry. Um, so I think this is a much better fit for your concept. Now let's take a look at a few things here. Um, when you scale this down like this, you'll notice that you have a few things you want to think about. So first of all, the type is very small compared to the actual eye. So what I recommend is making your type bigger. So this might need to scale up quite a bit, just so that like you can start to see some kind of equilibrium between the type and the image. So my suggestion for you would be, let's see, I'm just going to write the word panthers, but already, as you can see, this is a lot easier to read next to this type of image, as you can see, right? But think about this relationship between this scale and this image and this scale of this word and this eye. And keep in mind you can also play around with whether or not you want the type to be on the side or do you want it to stack underneath. But I think there's something interesting about this type relationship on the side here. As you can see with logo identities, you can show flexibility with the type being stacked in the center or it could be off to the side. But really think about this relationship between the size of your type and your image. Another thing I would recommend is you tend to lose a little bit of detail when you go onto a smaller scale like so. So my recommendation for you would be to even simplify some of those lines. Whether or not you need some of those extra lines here is questionable. So I would say really think about how much of this white you need for it to still complete the eye. So I would say simplify some of those areas. I would say this part right here is not really doing much, like this white area. What I would recommend is maybe doing one white area like you have right here, but making this line a little bit thicker, okay? So that way, when you zoom out, you get to see a little bit more definition. I think you're losing some of that detail here when you zoom out. But this is just a good exercise so you can see what works on a larger scale and when it scales down to 1 inch by 1 inch square, how that works out. But I think overall this looks good. It's nicely digitized. The quality is very clean. And I like where you're going with this concept for an animal optometry. I think this is very appropriate.